But I wanted to give our audience a real specific example because this is one that I see pop up all the time among conversations among progressive Christians. And that's the Ethiopian eunuch and this whole conversation with sexual minorities. The Ethiopian eunuch is portrayed as a quote unquote sexual minority. And so I'm going to read this to you and I want to get your reaction to this. So this is from Q Spirit online. It's a progressive Christian theological pro-gay kind of website. And it says this: in contemporary usage, a eunuch is a castrated man, but it had a broader definition in ancient times. Biblical eunuchs can stand for all sexual minorities. Literally meaning the keepers of the bed, the eunuchs served and guarded the women in royal palaces and wealthy households. Their employers wanted to be certain that the eunuchs would not get sexually involved with the women that they were supposed to protect, so many eunuchs were castrated men, homosexual men, and intersex folk. Many, but not all, were both castrated and homosexual. And so then they swing it into Matthew 19, where Jesus is talking about eunuchs, and he says there are eunuchs who were born that way, and there are eunuchs who have been made eunuchs by others, and there are those who choose to live like eunuchs for the sake of the dominion of heaven. The one who can accept this should accept it. And they're basically trying to flip the interpretation of that to say that Jesus is affirming that LGBTQ people are born that way, that this is something that's in the created order. Would love to get your response to some of that.
No. There are
Nope.
so many leaps in logic, right?
Yeah.
You start with the Ethiopian eunuch, and then you just, y- you know, it's question begging, first of all, because you're not proving, you're not going into the text and proving that they're talking about people who are, what we would, homosexuals, or you're not proving that.
Right.
You're just begging the question. You're just saying, this equals that. And then after you've begged the question here, you take that to another text and you say, based on the question begging logic over here that I didn't prove, that I'm getting you, I'm hoping that you accept it even though I didn't prove it. I'm now going to bring it over here and I'm going to apply it to this text and put it in Jesus' mouth. And then I'm going to say, see, Jesus agrees with me. I mean, the logical fallacies are almost too numerous
Yeah.
in that you can't get there from here. But the other problem is the Bible very clearly refers to homosexuality as sinful. So even if what you're saying is accurate, or that would mean that you're arguing that this sinful behavior now all of a sudden is no longer sinful.
Yeah.
So we've got the Bible contradicting itself. So it doesn't work in
Right.
in so many ways. It just doesn't work.
Right, and even it just seems too, they're just constantly trying to import that oppressed versus oppressor narrative, that they would view this eunuch as, bringing in that justice language of oppressed versus oppressor as a sexual minority, somebody that's oppressed because of the fact that they're a eunuch or this or that. Again, like you said, there's just so many assumptions being made that aren't really being proven out by the worldview of the context within which the eunuch was living and all of that. So, yeah, I wanted, that's one I
Yeah.
see a lot. So I just wanted to address it with our
But
audience.
that's that side B. That's the whole side B. And I don't spend a lot of time with the side B. For those who may not be aware, side A, you got Matthew Vines, right? He's sort of the champion of side A. And he's the whole, there's only 6 verses in the whole Bible, that deal with, homosexuality. And, if you can answer these 6 verses, then, homosexuality is fine, gay marriage is fine. And he does a bunch of theological gymnastics to get there. Side B, basically, the Preston Sprinkles of the world who come and they say, no, 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 we don't agree with him. Sexual behavior is still sinful, and so we don't agree with same-sex marriage, but we do agree with the definition of sexual orientation, right? Again, completely begging the question. They don't say this proves sexual orientation. They just take the world's claim of sexual orientation, and so they say no. He's wrong on these verses. Sexual behavior is still wrong, but sexual orientation is still real, and therefore we are celibate gay Christians,
Mm,
right?
right.
And the side B guys need stuff like the Ethiopian eunuch in order to justify the celibate gay Christian idea
Yeah.
and movement. But again, it's all question begging logic, and all of it is rooted and grounded in the idea that sexual orientation is a real thing, and that it is as immutable as a person's ethnicity.
Right.
So they've bought into that hook, line, and sinker, and they're arguing from that with this question begging logic.